world, welcome back to another video. It is me, Abbayabbadoo. Since it is exactly 1 year since I got my trio of rats, I'm going to be talking about things that I wish I knew before I got pet rats. Now don't get me wrong, rats are amazing pets. They're smart, funny and so affectionate. But there are definitely some things I wish I knew before bringing them into my home. Things that would have saved me a lot of stress, time and cleaning. So whether you're thinking of getting rats or you already have some, this video is going to help you avoid all the common mistakes most owners make. So number one is the smell, and I will do a longer video at some point in the future about this because I think it's an important topic that not many people talk about. I think every rat owner can agree that even though you'll eventually get used to it, rats themselves don't actually smell bad, but their urine builds up on the cage, bars, plastic, fabric, and literally everything, and it reeks. Rats produce a high amount of ammonia, and it's very difficult to keep a balance between making it smell good and making it smell even worse. Cleaning too often or too little can both make it worse. If you deep clean every single day, they'll mark even more because you've removed all their scent. If you leave it too long, well, you'll regret it. The sweet spot is usually spot cleaning daily, wiping shelves and bars with a pet safe cleaner. I use 50-50 water and vinegar solution, and deep cleaning once a week. However, this does not completely annihilate the smell. I can guarantee you they will still smell of pee. Maybe not as bad as they did before, but my girls certainly do stink. Also, using fleece liners or paper bedding instead of wood shavings doesn't trap ammonia as much, but if you are using fleece liners, then you're going to have to compensate for the lack of bedding with a dig box, which can sometimes smell even worse than traditional bedding. Boys tend to smell more than girls, so if you're sensitive to smell, maybe go for females or neutered males. I've actually developed a very recent allergic reaction to my rats, so they have been moved into a separate room in the house. And I have a feeling that my allergy came from their pee and not just their fur, as there is a chemical in their pee that can cause allergies and illnesses. If you're immunosuppressed like me, that is something you might want to think about. Number two, they need way more space than pet shops suggest. Now, if you're currently researching into pet rats, you'll probably already know this, but for anyone that doesn't know anything about them yet, when I first saw rats in pet shops, they were in those tiny glass tanks or small cages, and many assumed that's what they needed, which is a big mistake. Number one, rats should never be kept in glass tanks. There is just not enough ventilation, and to carry on from my previous point, they produce too much ammonia and they will just die or get a respiratory infection because they need the ventilation of a barred cage. Rats are super active and they need a ton of room to climb, explore and play. Pet shops will often sell cages that are way too small. A good rule is that at least 2 cubic feet of space per rat, but honestly the bigger the better. I have the Savic Freddy Max 2, I will leave the link to that cage in the description. I don't recommend it, although as a first cage I think it's pretty decent. I do wish that I can go back in time and get a critination because the door on the Savic Freddy is ridiculous. Try cleaning the cage or just feeding them or interacting them when the door is like literally 2 centimeters wide. Rats need lots of height, levels and space for enrichment, although you can take out those little bridges and levels while they're young for a more active layout. However, if you notice that in their older age they're becoming less active or just struggling to move around, you can add those levels back. Cage upgrades make a massive difference in their behaviour and smell too. Obviously the smaller the cage, the more ammonia is going to build up because there is less surface area. When rats are bored or cramped, they can get stressed, fight more, chew everything, and just become generally destructive and even aggressive towards you. So a bigger cage equals happier rats. Number 3, rats are smarter than they look. I knew rats were cute and playful, but I didn't realise how intelligent they actually are. They can learn tricks, come when called, and even recognise their names. Some rats are going to be smarter than others. My trio definitely is not on the smarter side, apart from Jade, who is very good at trick training. She knows how to spin and ring a bell. If you don't give them mental stimulation, they will make their own fun, usually by destroying something. Things like foraging toys, digging boxes, and teaching them simple tricks are perfect at keeping them entertained. And honestly, training rats is so rewarding. It takes ages, but it builds your bond with them and keeps them happy. They're not like hamsters that mostly do their own thing. Rats do need time with you. They're not the sort of pet that you can just put in a cage and admire the way they look. They do need human interaction or else they can get extremely bored. Which carries on to my next point. Number 4, they're very social, but that comes with challenges. This is something that I've never experienced myself because I've never had to add more rats to the group. But as they are incredibly social animals, they should never be kept alone. If rats are kept alone, they can become depressed and lower their immune system, which can make them either pass away early or become extremely ill. They live in groups in the wild and they get lonely extremely fast. Introducing rats isn't always simple. Sometimes they click right away, and most of the time they'll fight. Bar biting, chasing, and dominant squabbles can happen, and you need to be patient with intros. It's really important to introduce them gradually on neutral ground and let them figure out their hierarchy safely. And again, I haven't actually experienced this myself, so there are many videos on YouTube, specifically emiology, that will teach you how to bond rats together. Also, if one rat passes away, the other will need a new companion, and that means another introduction process. This is why it's a smart idea to have an end-of-life plan for your rats, as sad as it is. Having something called a rolling group, or even having a plan of what's going to happen with your final rats, such as rehoming, finding a friend that owns rats and we're happy to take them on, etc, etc. So be prepared that owning rats often means keeping a small group, not just 2 forever. This isn't to say pairs aren't a good idea, but keeping them in a group is usually the best bet. Number 5, how short their lifespans are. Rats only live about 2 to 3 years, but the majority of rats will live a year and a half. They age quickly. 1 minute they're young and playful, and the next they're slowing down. It's heartbreaking how short their lives are, and I'd wish I'd known how emotionally attached you get to them. It is true that they become such big personalities in their home, and it's never easy when they go. It's never easy when any pets go. That's what also makes them so special. They cram so much love and joy into such a short time. If you get rats, just know you'll fall in love hard. They're extremely loving towards their owners, and you'll probably always want more after. If you're someone that can't deal with short lifespans, this is something you should definitely consider before owning rats. Number 6, they pee everywhere, including on you. Okay, no one warned me about this one. Rats like to mark things, including you. It's how they show affection and claim you as part of their group. So if you ever feel a little warm splash on your arm, yeah, that's love apparently. It's harmless, but definitely something to be aware of, especially when you're wearing nice clothes. You can reduce this a bit with litter training, or even rubbing some of their bedding on your hands so that you smell of them. Put a small litter tray where they usually pee in the cage and they'll start using it over time. But even the best trained rats will mark sometimes. Number 7. Vet bills and health problems. Rats are prone to health issues, especially respiratory infections and tumours. They might need vet visits more often than you'd expect. This part I wish I knew earlier. I obviously already made sure that we had money to set aside for the vets, but not all vets are experienced with rats, so before you even try to get them, find an exotics vet who actually treats small animals properly. And yes, it can get expensive despite their size. A simple lump removal or course of antibiotics can cost £50 to £150 easily, and if you've got multiple rats, it adds up fast. So definitely budget for vet care before getting rats. They're small, but their care isn't cheap. Number 8, they need daily interaction. Rats aren't the kind of pets you can just watch in a cage. They need out-of-cage playtime every single day. You're basically their best friend. They'll want to climb on you, nap in your hoodies, and follow you around. If you don't have time to give them that attention, they'll get bored, lonely, or even depressed. So, before getting rats, ask yourself, can I give them at least an hour of attention every day? If not, they might not be the right pet for now, and that's okay. We always have to consider the fact that we also need to be right for the pet as much as the pet needs to be right for us. They'll destroy everything. Rats are natural chewers. Their teeth can overgrow and prevent them from eating and drinking. I learnt that the hard way when they chew through literally every single hammock that I give them, and even a cage clip. So even once you get past the initial expense of the cage, you'll always need to be replacing stuff. They need to chew to keep their teeth short, so always have plenty of safe things available. Cardboard boxes, apple sticks, cork tunnels, chew toys, toilet rolls, and when they're out for free roam, supervise them. They're not the sort of animal that you can leave the room when they're running about. As much as they are usually well behaved, they're going to chew anything they can get their grubby little incisors on. They'll chew cables, furniture, and sometimes even walls if you're not careful. It's not bad behaviour, it's just what rats do, so don't scold them or shout at them. It's not going to do anything. Rats don't understand that the same way a bigger animal might understand being disciplined. Some people do put them in a carrier for about 2 minutes so that they don't forget why they're in the carrier for, and anytime they misbehave they put them back in the carrier. But it's not really proven that this works or does anything for them. But it's something to prepare for when you bring them home. Number 10. Cleaning never ends. Between washing their hammocks, scrubbing bars, cleaning up after playtime, you'll feel like a full-time cleaner sometimes. I wish I'd realised how much upkeep rats need. If you use fleece liners, you have to wash them in pet-safe detergent, and maybe dedicate an old towel just for cage stuff. Having 2 sets of liners helps so you can swap them out easily. Their bedding has to be very specific. It has to be the kiln-dried, snowflake shavings, hemp, paper-based, or litter so that they don't get a respiratory infection. And changing beddings 1 week from another can also cause a respiratory infection. A little routine goes a long way. Quick wipe daily, litter tray empty every other day, full clean once a week. Your nose and your rats will thank you. So yeah, those are all the things I wish I knew before getting rats. They're honestly one of the most rewarding pets I've ever owned. They're funny, loving, so full of personality, and definitely more human social than any animal I've ever owned. If you're thinking of getting rats, I hope this video helps you go into it fully prepared, and also gives you an idea of the cons of owning rats. If you already have some, comment down below what you wish you knew before getting them. If you would like to see more from me and the animals, come back next Sunday at 5 PM. Bye bye!